All right, welcome to week 4. This week we are concluding Unit 2 with a discussion of socialism, which I think provides a profound contrast with last week's subject. We're covering 2 chapters this week, so there's a lot of material for you to master, so forewarned is forearmed. Socialism, like conservatism, has roots in both the ancient, medieval, and modern worlds. Some political theorists have made the case that Plato's exploration of justice in the Republic is a foreshadowing of modern totalitarian regimes of the left. Likewise, Thomas More's Utopia, 1516, offers a glimpse into an imagined perfect community in which greed has been banished and gold is fashioned into chamber pots, and people subsequently have little to no basis for conflict. There's also a rich modern and contemporary set of movements favoring socialism of one variety or another. At its heart, socialism represents an argument in leveling, a term introduced with negative connotations last week. Socialism is generally, socialists are united in believing that inequality is one of the most profound sources of injustice in society, and that the elimination of injustice is the most efficient pathway to a better and more just society. What goes into those kinds of changes and in terms of eliminating injustice is where the devil the devil is in the details. The author suggests that there are 2 fundamental questions that inform socialist thought. Question 1, granted that society as a whole should own and control property for the benefit of all, how much property and what kind of society should be under this collective control? So on the one hand, you could say, well, healthcare should definitely be collectively controlled, but then everything else is open. Question number 2, how is society to exercise that control? I mean, and there again, the question is, should the government be in control of all aspects of the economy, in which case you'd have a highly centralized economy, or should you have more decentralized control? Socialists have come to very different answers to those central questions. Most Americans understand socialism through the lens of Karl Marx, and Marxism is perhaps the most influential, but by no means the only interpretation of socialism. And I think these 2 chapters do a good job both of laying out Marxism as perhaps the most systematic elaboration of socialism, and clearly describing how the physical manifestations of Marxism in the forms of Leninism, Stalinism, and Maoism have departed from Marx's original critique of capitalism, as well as his prognostications of how capitalism would eventually be supplanted by socialism. I think the authors also do a good job of describing the diversity of opinion within socialism. Marx at no point wielded the kind of influence within European socialism that his critics supposed. The distinctive interpretations of socialism advanced by people like Charles Fourier and Ferdinand Lassalle and Edward Bernstein and the British Fabians kind of highlight the fact that when we see social democratic movements in Europe, they're rarely manifestations of a straightforwardly Marxist interpretation of socialism. I've often heard conservatives say that if you want to see what socialism looks like, go to Venezuela. I would suggest to the class that the problems with Venezuela have more to do with corruption, and in particular, the kind of corruption that comes with the discovery and exploitation of oil wealth, than with socialism generically understood. I would also point to Bolivia under Evo Morales since 2006, whose leftist policies have dramatically reduced poverty, improved literacy rates among low-income Bolivians, and dramatically improved the Bolivian economy's economic performance. I hold no brief for Morales, and he may yet turn into a corrupt guy, but right now, the general sense is he's governed prudently from a decidedly leftist perspective, and the Bolivian economy has generally performed at a much higher level than it had previously. We're in week 4. That means we have 4 assignments due by midnight of July 7th. We have to do the forum. Remember all the requirements there. We have to do the quiz. We have the ideology analysis exercise. And then we also have the Unit 2 exam. So let's get our work done and have a productive week.